The Brief Autobiography of an Inconsequential Scribbler by H.P. Lovecraft. Since the earthly career of a secluded and non-robust individual is seldom replete with exciting events, my readers must not expect the following chronicle to possess much which will hold their attention, or awaken their interest. But, for the mandate of a relentless editor, they would have been spared this affliction. I was born in Providence, of unmixed English ancestry, on August 20th, 1890. During the first few years of my existence, my mode of expression was more often oral than written, and my tastes much more modern than at present. It is indeed worthy of note that my utterances prior to the summer of 1891 betray a marked kinship to the vers libre of today. In the year 1892, from which my first genuine recollections proceed, my literary career began in earnest. Having mastered the art of connected speech and assimilated the alphabet, I was an inveterate reciter of poesy, delivering such pieces as Sheridan's Ride and selections from Mother Goose, with true declamatory finesse. I also dabbled in poetic imagism with the aid of alphabetical blocks. By the close of 1893, I had added another accomplishment to my catalog, that of reading. My tastes ran to polysyllables, of whose pronunciation I was not always certain. About this period, I began to supplement the fairy tales hitherto related to me with individual research in the pictureful pages of Grimm, and developed a marked penchant for everything pertaining to myths and legends. The close of 1894 revealed still another accomplishment, that of writing. The years 1895 and 1896 were uneventful, and although I was constantly scribbling both crude prose and crude rhymes, no specimen survives. The leading event of this era was my change of interest from Teutonic to classical mythology, induced by perusal of Hawthorne's Wonder Book and Tanglewood Tales. In 1897, I composed my earliest surviving attempt at authorship, a poem in 44 lines of internally rhyming iambic heptameter, entitled The Poem of Ulysses, or the New Odyssey, whose opening 4 lines are as follows. The night was dark, O reader, hark, and see Ulysses' feet. All homeward bound, with victory crowned, he hopes his spouse to greet. Long hath he fought, put Troy to naught, and levelled down its walls, but Neptune's wrath obstructs his path, and into snares he falls. In 1898, I commenced a school career, much interrupted by ill health, and supplemented by home reading and private instruction. It was my favorite diversion to spend hours in the midst of the family library, browsing chiefly over books over a century old, and insensibly forming a taste for 18th century style and thought, which will never leave me. In 1899, I became interested in the sciences and established my first enduring amateur publication, the Scientific Gazette, which ran continuously until 1904. It was published successfully by pencil, pen, and hectograph, and afforded me infinite pleasure and pride. In 1903, astronomy became my chief interest, and I established the Hectograph magazine, the Rhode Island Journal of Astronomy, which survived until 1907. All this time, I knew nothing of organized amateurdom, and the reams of old-fashioned miscellany I had been evolving remained mercifully unpublished till 1906, when I made my debut in print by commencing a series of monthly astronomical articles in a local paper. From 1906 to 1914, I was a contributor to sundry publications of no importance, veering about 1911 from pure science back to Bell's Letters in Belly Letters. In March 1914, I learned through Mr. Edward F. Doss of amateurdom's existence, and soon joined the United, a connexion likely to subsist till my death, since it has furnished me with more enjoyment than any other I have experienced. In the United, it has been my privilege to become a frequent contributor to the press, and to hold several offices, including the presidency and the chairmanship of the Department of Public Criticism. I've endeavored to support the most purely literary and progressive elements in the association, and to aid in a revival of that conservatism and classicism which modern literature seems dangerously prone to reject. To this purpose is my individual publication, The Conservative, devoted. These various activities have doubtless gained for me the reputation of being an insufferable old pedant, yet I cannot wholly complain of my fate, since Editor Samples deems it fit to waste good white paper upon these overlong annals of Boyatian mediocrity. And him being a student of astronomy, later, of course, would give reason to the connection between the myths of that to ideas of further stories. And obviously he has a romanticism and baroqueness about him that, you know, obviously the things about, oh, I can't talk yet, but I'm like a poet with the blocks or something like that, or oh, well, that's not the right order, but you know what I mean. But nowadays people would have tarot cards and stuff like that they'd shuffle around and get ideas. That's really what the things are for.